It is 9:30 Central European Time, and so we will begin our 6th Ukrainian Symposium. Good morning. A very warm good morning to you all. I am Patricia Hunt, and I'm Chair of the Alliance of Ukrainian and European Psychotherapists and also former President of the European Association for Psychotherapy. 1,136 psychotherapists have registered for this symposium, 779 from Ukraine and 357 from Europe. We are thrilled and honoured that you are all joining us today. Welcome to this 6th symposium organised by the Alliance, and this time we are supported by the Danish Council for Psychotherapy, and we thank them for their great generosity in funding this symposium and for their support for our work. We particularly thank Vibeke Lubansky of the Danish Association, who has been the representative in our alliance during the planning for today's symposium, and we thank her for her expertise and her very imaginative ideas. We're delighted to welcome our excellent speakers for today. They're all giving their expertise, their wisdom, and their time free, which is wonderful and means that we can offer this as a free event particularly to Ukrainian psychotherapists. We're honoured that Mr. Willy Sonvay, MEP from Denmark, will be the patron of today's symposium, and he will give us an address in the morning session. We are meeting within the context of rapidly changing world events, particularly with the outcome of the American election within the last fortnight. This brings uncertainty. It brings uncertainty in Ukraine, and it's a time that it's more important than ever for us to hold together, for us to meet together for these symposiums, and for us to continue to support each other. And the Alliance has made a commitment to continue to support Ukrainian psychotherapists through these symposiums until the end of the full-scale war. And of course, we don't know when that will be. We are exploring the vital theme of the role of women in the time of war today. We will explore the changed roles that women are forced to undertake during war, the challenges of being a woman at the front line, and the ways in which women's roles change through the influence of war. This symposium includes a sociodrama, which will be conducted by 2 experts in the field of sociodrama in Ukraine, Olena Stupak and Anastasia Skliaruk, and we very much look forward to this part of today's symposium. The female ego is linked to existential need. It is linked to enabling survival. In wartime, this leads women to work in whatever way is best for the life of others. My own mother served in the Royal Navy in the Second World War. She was subjected to threats, her life in danger many times. She always talked of it with great pride. The danger to her was not the most important thing. What mattered to her was the service that she gave, the lives that she saved, the camaraderie that she experienced with other women doing the same as her. She developed friendships during wartime, which lasted the whole of her life. Anna Freud, Sigmund Freud's daughter, wrote extensively about the role of the ego in resolving conflict and tension. She outlined the way in which the ego restrains the id's impulses, and she emphasized the importance of the developmental lines created by the ego, which enable the process of maturation. She wrote about the importance of this maturation for individuals and for society, particularly in situations of conflict and tension. Her work is very relevant for us today. In exploring the role of women in times of war and the full-scale war in Ukraine, you will hear today about the very many ways in which women work to resolve conflict, ease tensions, and in so doing, enable the survival of others. I'm now really pleased to welcome my dear colleague, Alexander Mironenko, to give his opening address on behalf of the Ukrainian Umbrella Association for Psychotherapy. Good morning, Alexander.
Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning.
Дорога Патріція.
Dear Patricia, esteemed Mr. Sondal, we are really grateful for your agreement to be patron of our symposium. Dear colleagues, I would like to start with the fact that changes are indispensable part of evolution and nature. And we saw already changes of traditional roles of women. Traditionally, women were considered mothers and protectors of households, but the changes came to life and women started occupying traditional male roles without contradicting the main role of women. In particular, we are observing right now changes of roles for women in psychotherapy. You see that today we have majority of women among participants of our symposium. It is our reality. 100 years ago, it was absolutely a different situation. And one more part of history. History claims that wars used to start either because of women or for women. As an example, it was an example of Troy War that was really long-lasting, and there was lots of bloodshed because of the love to a woman. Modern war is changing roles of women and bring new challenges. But the most important thing is that brutal aggression of Russia hasn't changed those evolution changes of the role of a woman. And it keeps on despite of the full-scale invasion. First and foremost, we can see it in Ukraine that up until recently was pretty traditional country, patriarchal country. Now we see two roles. We used to have two roles: women as mothers and men as protectors, as defenders. But we see that now women also become defenders, and they have faced new challenges. But the main thing is they managed to withstand, and they became this important backbone for everyone. The role of women is still important. It's growing with every day, and not only in such conservative spheres, but in the military service as well. Thousands of women took arms and started protecting, defending their lands. And this participation of women in the army is not less important than those women who are now abroad for the safety of their children or their dear ones. There are women who take part in hostilities, but where men traditionally dominated. But there are also women dealing with volunteering, helping armed forces, protecting rights of women, of people, children. And the most important thing that each of these women is doing more than she could have ever imagined, and more than we all could have ever imagined. And the most obvious price of war for women is, of course, separation with children, because those women who made the choice to go to the war, right now they are separated with their children and with their near and dear ones. It's not only the threat of injury or death, but it's also living through all these emotions distantly, and it has changed the role of a woman in the family. It's not only mother, but also a woman defender. And I would like to mention, and that's also a huge phenomenon, those women who are caring after other people, in particular their children. These are those women who have become mothers during the war, who are giving birth in absolutely not appropriate conditions for that, but still they manage to care to take care of their children under such circumstances. These are also women taking care of their husband that got injuries and cannot go to war anymore. The most important thing is that Ukrainian women have proven that their role cannot be diminished to the role of a victim. It emphasizes the fact that women consider that the war strengthens their role in the society, and for them to deal successfully with these new challenges, now they are talking a lot about such a very important trait as resilience, but not to give to the next generation this trauma, but to give to the next generation this vitality, this resilience to life. These women also have to deal with vitality, and our task as psychotherapists not only to support the resilience, but also to cherish vitality in these women.
Thank you.
And we can say that we today are definitely writing new roles of women, and we can be proud of them, we can be amazed, but most probably it's taking place right now, but finally we will be able to do that after the end of the war. And I have a dream to organize one more symposium where we will be able to evaluate these colossal changes that took place. And I wish everyone a fruitful, successful work today, interesting discussions, and to enjoy the communication whenever and wherever we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexander. And I share your dream that we will one day be able to hold a symposium which marks the end of the war. We will hold together until that. And thank you for your insightful comments about and giving us the frame for today's symposium. Thank you so much. I'm now pleased to invite Pia Clementson, the chair of the Danish Association for Psychotherapy, to give us an opening address from the Danish Association. Good morning, Pia. Very good to see you. We are colleagues in the European Association for Psychotherapy, and I welcome you to our symposium, and I thank you for the support you've given to the symposium. Please give us your opening address.
Thank you very much, Patricia, and good morning, everyone. We so much look forward to this symposium, and we're very happy to be able to host it. It's very, and as Patricia said, I'm head of the Danish Association for Psychotherapists, and we've been very active in the work about supporting our Ukrainian colleagues, especially, as Patricia mentioned, Vibeke Lubansky, the head of our office. And this summer we were happy to have the possibility of inviting some of our Ukrainian colleagues to Denmark, having a time out from the war. And I think for almost 80 years, we in Western Europe have lived in peace, and now our Ukrainian people, they're going through things that no human being should go through. And therefore, it's very important that we, as colleagues and as human beings, are sticking together and not taking anything for given. I think it's important sharing knowledge. It's important not taking freedom for given, not taking democracy for given, and being active in people's rights. So this symposium is important in many ways. It's important sharing knowledge, because here we lived peacefully, and how it is to live in a wartime, and what it's doing to other people. And I think it's so important that we not forget that, and we always give our colleagues in Ukraine the importance that we're not forgetting you. We remember. Maybe the media is not that keen on bringing news, but we'll not forget you. So that, I think, is very important. So I hope we'll have a day with sharing knowledge and a day with supporting. So thank you to all of you for being here, and thank you, and hope we have a beautiful day sharing knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presence with us this morning. It's important that you're here, Pia, and thank you so much for your words and all of the things that we are upholding through the work of this symposium today. Thank you so much. And now it's a great pleasure to welcome Mr. Villy Sonve, member of the European Parliament in Denmark and former Minister for Foreign Affairs. We welcome you, Villy. It means a huge amount to us to have you as patron for our symposium, and it means a huge amount to us to have someone who's in the centre of the political field, at the heart of politics in Europe, to be part of our symposium today, because this means a lot to us that the work of psychotherapists also has relevance and importance for beyond the world of psychotherapy. It indeed has importance within the political world and within the developing events in Europe. So thank you so much, and we look forward to your opening address to us this morning.
Thank you very much, Patricia. You can hear me?
I can hear you perfectly well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's a very great pleasure for me to have this chance to address you. When I was 20 years old, it's more than 50 years ago, me and a good friend drove around in Europe for half a year. We went down through Europe and ended up in Ukraine, the Soviet Union at that time. So it's a special situation for me also to hear about the cities I visited 51 years ago, like Odessa, like Kiev, like Lviv, where the name was Lvov at that time. And it reminds me that you should never take for granted that the great situation we created in Europe, it's something that's giving forever. It's something we have to fight for. And today it's the Ukrainians who are doing the fight. And thank you very much for that. I thought I should never again experience that kind of brutal war that we see now on European soil, with the unbelievable suffering, unbelievable destruction, unbelievable bombardment, death and wounded and horror. It's full-scale war, as terrible as it is, that the Ukrainian people now have lived through for 3 years. I met very concrete with this just after the beginning of the war. At that time, I was a member of a city council in my hometown, Kolding, where I was the chair of the Social and Employment Committee. And we had the responsibility receiving the many Ukrainian refugees that ended up in this town and their children. There are some events I'll never forget. I saw these mothers having their mobile phone very close to them because all the time they were anxious about news from the front, from their loved ones, or from their families left back in the towns. But luckily we could offer them shelter and help them, and I'm grateful for that. And as you said, now I'm the MEP, and my main priority is foreign policy, and I'm a spokesman of Ukraine on my job. I have the job to secure that Europe is backing Ukraine economically, militarily, and in all other aspects. Luckily, there is a clear majority in the parliament who is supporting Ukraine. We made a resolution by the very beginning of the new parliament, backed up by everyone except for the extreme right and the extreme left. And I'm happy we have that majority because it's very important also with the unsecured time after the election in US, where we do not know what's going to happen with the American support, that Europe stands firm and is willing to offer and to help in a situation where it's Ukraine who is paying the high price. It's not our young men who are dying at the front. It's Ukraine, young and elder men, who are fighting our fight for freedom as well. But it's also important to understand how much pressure 3 years of brutal war is putting on the population. The many lost and wounded ones, the civilian who are fighting in the front, of families who are getting divided because the fathers have to go to the front, the mothers who have to take care of children, parents, and the whole life, organize the whole life, and have to live in a constant fear of bombardments, of attacks, etc. Will they attack today? Will they attack tomorrow? How will they do it this day? I hope we can bring an end soon, and we have a common responsibility to do everything we can. Therefore, our full support is important for all that Putin and his Russian regime. They shall not win this war, because if they win this war, we all are going to live in a different world than the one we love. A world not with democracy, not based on rules of law, not based on human rights, but based on a brutal dictatorship, as we see. So I think our job and my job in the parliament is to say, come on, Europe. Let's deliver the weapons needed. That's the most important part of it. And if we do not deliver the weapons, then let's deliver the economic aid that is possible to produce the weapons in Ukraine, where there is a capacity, but a lack of money. And secondly, let's give the economic help to secure that there is still hope that we can help rebuilding the electricity in a winter that's going to be very cold. And the brutal warfare of the Russians are doing what they can to destroy the energy production with a hard winter in front of us. Let's use the weapons we give to target also Russian military goals to be sure that they cannot hide and attack just behind the border. Let's make sure that the aggressive strategy is not going to be forming the world we and our children are going to live on. So, to end, I hope we'll be able to celebrate in not too far future the end of the war. I hope we'll be able very soon to welcome Ukraine as member of EU, as a member of the civilized Western democratic world. And that day, I think I'll return to both Kiev and Odessa and Lviv and say, yes, we reached a very important step now. I wish you the very best symposium the rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Vili, for your powerful and important words to us. Indeed, Ukraine is fighting the fight of all of us for freedom, for human rights, for democracy, and for our children and grandchildren to grow up in a peaceful and fair world. These are such important things that are happening within the world at the moment. And I would just like to make an offer to you. Your work in foreign affairs is so important. You're at the heart of what is happening. So I just would like to offer to you, I think I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of my colleagues in the Alliance, so if there's any way in which the Alliance of Ukrainian and European psychotherapists can be of help to you, we would wish to be. This is a group of about 15, 16 senior psychotherapists from the European Association for Psychotherapy and senior psychotherapists from the Ukrainian Umbrella Association for Psychotherapy. And we've been meeting regularly for 2 years now, and we are a strong group in ourselves. And I think we have a lot of wisdom and a lot of the distinguished people in this group, actually. So if there's any way in which we could be of help to you in your work, then we would really wish to be that. So please, perhaps we'll stay in touch. And if there's a way in which we can give you support, then please ask us.
Thank you very much for your kind offer. I always like to hear and discuss and listen to very clever people. I think that's very important to also to take the right decisions as a politician. Yeah. Thank you very much for your offer. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your words to us and being patron of our symposium today. We're honoured by your presence. Thank you.